Okay, for this problem, I've been asked to do a Pareto chart and get some basic statistics down here for these sports. We can see that on this table we have different athletes, and this is real data for 2014, what sport they play, and how many millions of dollars they earned playing that sport back in 2014. So what I'm going to do is make a Pareto chart for this data, and also clear down here in the bottom. Let me scroll down here and I'll show you. I added my name onto it right here, and your problem may say to add your name and what sport you play and a certain amount of money that you get paid for playing that sport. That way everybody has a little bit different question. So now to make a Pareto chart, we do this. We highlight these two columns. We highlight the two columns that we're dealing with. Go down to the bottom. I'm clicking and dragging over this. Go down to the bottom. And then up here at the top, we're going to do Insert, and we're going to click on this graph right here that says Insert Statistic Chart. So click on that, and then pull it down to this one on the right, which is a Pareto chart. Click that, and if we scroll up, you'll have to scroll up now to see it because it places it near the top area. And you can title that chart or whatever you'd want to do. This chart tells you the different sports and what the total amount of money earned in those different sports were for these 100 people in this table. So like for example, the total amount earned in 2014 in baseball was $586 million, and in basketball it was $527 million, and so on. So that's what the blue graph shows. The line graph here is an ogive. In other words, it adds up the totals, like the total, and you can see it's going up in percentages. So for example, in this top one right here, and a Pareto always ranks them from highest down to lowest, so it sorts your data too. The reason why baseball is listed first is not for an alphabetical reason. It's because baseball had the highest total, and over here it's adding up right here the cumulative data. So we can see that the total amount of money in this chart for everybody. Out of that chart, baseball accounts for this percentage right here, which is hard to tell but what it is, but it looks like it's above, it's about 20% or so, you see. So 20% comes from our first thing. And our second one, the table is up to, well, it looks like the total is up to somewhere around maybe 50% or so. And it adds all of them up, getting up to the 100%. And so most of it comes from the first couple in here, and then less and less as you go out. That's why it goes up so steep and then over. So again, the line graph is cumulative data. It's adding up these totals as you go and giving you the total over here as a percent of the total. So that's how the graph looks. Now these are rounded and they don't tell you the average. For example, over here, baseball, the total is 586, but how many of these people over here played baseball? It's not the same amount of people in this chart that play baseball, basketball, soccer, and football. So what we need to do is fill in this table and get how many people there are in each group. Now, I know you could go through and count them up, but it's easy to make a mistake. And let's say instead of being 100 people here, there was 1,000 people. Well, you wouldn't want to go through and try to keep track of how many people say baseball or whatever out of 1,000 people. So what we're going to do here is put in a function. Now the way you put it in a function is type equals and type in the function that you need to type in. So we need to type in the word count if, all one word. And what this is going to do, it's going to count the number of people in that area if they have a certain criteria. I'll show you how you do this. So we have equals countif, do an open parentheses. Now it says what range would you like to count? Well, that's this range right here, all these words going down. So I'm going to click and drag over these so that I go clear down to cell 102 here. Then I'm going to scroll up. Don't click in another cell, but we can see here that we're doing count if these cells D2 through D102. Now do a comma and a quote and type in the word you're looking for. Like I'm going to look for baseball here. So I'll type in baseball, close quote, and close the parentheses. And when I hit enter, I get the right amount of people. There's 27 baseball players here. Let's get the number of basketball players. I'll do it again. So I can do equals countif, open parentheses. Now I saw before that my range is from D2 colon D102. So there's my range, or you can drag it across again, comma. Now your criteria is this time, quote, basketball, close quote, close parentheses, hit enter. And you can even drag these down if you want, but you got to be careful. Like if you take this corner and you drag it down, you can do that if you want, but you need to edit these things so that they have the right cells with the right word. So you could either double click in here, or I could see up here in the function area that it moved it up one. Instead of being D2 to D102, it's now D3 to D103. So I could, and I'll double click it here if you want to see it better, but right here I would have to say D2 to D102 because that's where this data is, and then put in the word, this time, soccer. And then right below this, I need to do the same thing and keep the cells the same, D2 to D102, and make the word this time football. Or you could do it like I did before, where I just scroll down through. So this is the number of players. Now the total that we have up here for baseball, if you look at it, says 586. But this rounds to the nearest million. We want to get it more precise here. So what we're going to do here is a new function called equals sumif. So we're going to sum these if it meets a certain criteria. Well, first of all, what range are we talking about that we're looking at? Well, we're looking at the sport that people play. So that's right here. Again, you could click and drag it down, but it's in cell D2 to D102. Now, comma, quote, what word are we looking for? Well, we're right here in baseball, so we're going to look for the word baseball. Close the quote, comma. Now, what range are we adding? We're going to add this row, their pay, and that's in column E. So you could drag it if you want, or we can just say E2 to E102. And at that point, close parentheses and hit enter, and we have our total for baseball. I'll do it again for basketball. So here we go again. So to get the total, we do equals sumif, open parentheses. Again, the range that we're looking for is over here in D area. You know, this is where the sport is listed. So that's D2 to D102, comma. This word that we're looking for is basketball, close quote, and comma. The sum range is right here, and E2 to E102, close quote. There you go. And you can see, like, this says 526.9, and on the Pareto chart, when we hold it over basketball, it says 527. But with these here, we can easily get the average. So let's go over here and do average. So we do equals average if, open parentheses, again, the range that we're dealing with to identify the sport is in this column. That's cells D2 to D102, comma. The criteria that we're looking for in this area is baseball. So I'll do quote, baseball, close quote, comma. And then what do we want to take the average of? The average of their pay right here, which is in cells E2 to E102. So E2 to E102. Close parentheses. And the average salary for baseball of these 100 people listed here is 21.7. So your values may be different. You may get different values, and it may be asking for any of these sports, these type of thing, or something about the Pareto chart. So I'll stop it right there. And this is a really good problem that really teaches you how to do some good things in Excel.